In the previous videos on glass curtain walls, we drew in a glass curtain wall, a sheet of glass in a sense, using the architecture command uh, and then uh, wall architecture, and then just a this glass curtain wall one. And then we put in a series of grid lines which defined where the uh, mullions were going to go and where the panels were going to go. We can kind of zoom in a little bit better. I'll select one of the panels using the tab key here. See if there we go. So there's one of the panels. And then we're now going to add mullions to this so that we have our mullions. And then in the next video, we're going to add spandrel panels to it. But I went ahead and put this wall in, okay, so that you could see it, okay, so that we could see it right here. And here's what our mullion looks like, okay. It is a 2.5 by 10 inch this way and a 2.5 by 5 inch this way. And what we're going to do is create those two mullions. Well, one of them's already created. And then we'll come back and we'll replace the glass panels here in the next video with solid panels. So the first thing we really need to do is come in and create um, our mullions. So let's go in and add our mullions in here. And as I said before, let's escape out of that and zoom in here. What we want to do is add a 2 by 10 mullions vertically and then 2 by 5 mullions horizontally. And we're just going to go over here to this other glass curtain wall that you created previously. Okay. And you've got it all gridded out the way you want it. And so the first thing we're going to do is go look for mullions, see what profiles we already have. Okay, so if we go into mullions, so we go architecture, I'm sorry, mullions, and then if we look, there's going to be a list of mullions here that we've already downloaded in. If we go over to our families, I want you to look here, okay? If you go into families and you go down to curtain wall mullions right there, okay, then you're going to see several types: circular, L-shaped, quad-shaped, which is equal on all four sides, rectilinear mullion, okay, and that's what we're using. We got a 2.5 by 5 inch mullion. We got a 2.5 by 8 inch mullion. What we want to do is make us a 2.5 by 10 inch mullion. So let's go in and we can do it from over here, or we can just go into our family here, select that, and then we can duplicate it. And we're just going to change that to 10 inches, but that's not going to make it adjust automatically to 10 inches. What we need to do now is open that. So we're going to edit type properties, okay? And we'll see here angle, offset, profile. It's using a rectangular shaped mullion. Position perpendicular to the face, and then you'll see the thickness right here is 5 inches, and we want that to be 10 inches. The next thing we want to look down here is the material is aluminum, so it's going to be an aluminum color. If we wanted to be bronze, or if we wanted to be white or red, or I don't know, purple, pink, whatever we might request, even though we may have to pay extra for it, we could specify that here. Or if we're going through a particular manufacturer, we want to look at what they offer. And then the other thing you're going to see right here is width on side 1 is 2 and width on side 1, okay? This is, the depth of this is going to be 10 inches, but how much is going to be on each side of the grid line, okay? And if I pull this off to the side, here's the grid line right here. So how much of the mullion is going to be on one side of the grid line and how much is going to be on this other side of the grid line. And by making these equal, 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, that means that the total width is going to be 2.5 inches, but half of it's going to be on one side of the grid line, half of it on the other side of the grid line. And that's all that really means. So let's say okay to that. And then, so we got this one up first. So we're going to go mullions, and let's select 10 right here. And we're going to just select that top line, and we're going to add a 2 by 10 mullion there. So we got our 2 by 10 mullion. Fantastic. It looks great. Uh, the other horizontal one we want is the bottom mullion to be the same width. Okay. And then, of course, the end mullions. So we want this one to be, and notice it's automatically adjusting uh, the whole frame. Let's go ahead and we'll just flip over here and get all the borders. These are what are called the borders. Okay. And so let's get that. Okay. And then we want a series of vertical mullions, and all the vertical mullions to be the same. So we're just going to go down here. And once again, it's only going to select a grid line. So we just got to make sure we're not close to any other but the vertical grid line. And so now we have all of our vertical mullions in. Fantastic. And so the next step is to add our horizontal ones. So once again, you'll notice right over here, there are by grid line segment, and by all grid lines. So let's just click on this so that you can kind of see. If we do it by a grid line, then if we select any one grid line, it's continuously a mullion is put on it. If we go to grid line by segment, though, we can select just a specific segment, not the whole grid line, and we can add a mullion to it as it shows here in this video. And then if we want all grid lines, we could click on this, and then if we select any grid line, then all the ones would have been 2.5 by 10 inches. But that's not what we want. So we want to select a grid line. We're going to go back into here and select our 2.5 this time. Okay, and then we're going to select these horizontals. So we're going to do here, here, here. Okay, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay, here and here. And now we have this kind of really deep grid line, mullion that's extra deep. And then we've got a much more shallower on each side. Okay, and so that gives us the same mullion pattern that we have over here on this other side that's in the file. And actually that's not true because I made these to 8 inches. Okay, so if I wanted to then come back and change those so that they would be 10 inches, then I could select them and then just change here to whatever I wanted. So don't copy this over, because if you do copy it over, it will be wrong. So make sure that you put the mullions here 2 by 10. The next thing we're going to do in the next video is we're going to add then the spandrel panels to the glass panels.